Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Giglio, principal of Homestead High School, about to do our weekly video message. And again, staying with my tradition, I'm coming to you from our brand new smoothie shop. So this is our smoothie shop within the student foyer of the student center of the large gym. And we did a nice little update to our smoothie shop where we do some workability skills, some training for our students who have IEPs. And so it's just a great little space, so I thought I would showcase that today. So let me, though, switch over to sharing my screen and get to presentation for today. Here we go. So again, today is Friday, November 6th, and we are still getting lots of good responses for our survey. We did get down a few. We've been up in the 20s in previous weeks, but we got 12 responses this week. So we're up around almost 60 responses total. So again, appreciate that. We once again received a high score of a 10 and a low score of a 1. And when I average all those together, it was a 6.4. So again, we're in that range of 6 to 7 there. So just to give you a general idea that, lots of positive things going on. Definitely some things that we're still working on and trying to fix. When again, the question is asking folks why they rated us in that particular way. There were both the positives and the negatives. So on the positive side, there were comments about how remote learning has been keeping us safe, that a student is busy and engaged, that teachers are working really hard. They can see that the teachers are trying to make sure that there's good education going on and that there's more rigorous education going on. Some people responded to about the flexibility of teachers and trying to work with students who are definitely struggling. And then just the level of communication, feeling that has been really helpful. On the other side, there's some other parts, right? And again, as we say every week, there are some contradictory statements to go here. Some people are, what might be joyful to somebody is not so joyful to another. And so on the thorn side of things for the rating, they don't really like the remote learning. They don't feel it's good academically, socially, or emotionally. One particular parent who has a 9th grader, it's just been a real challenge for the 9th grader to get going in the high school environment, and totally can empathize with that. There was a discussion about, or a couple of responses about homework load or lack of timely feedback. Again, kind of going contradictory to what was said on the positive side over there. A lack of meaningful interactions, and again, definitely very hard to interact on Zoom, so I understand that one as well too. And that's something we're also seeing as well, that students are feeling very overwhelmed and that they need support. That's something that people don't like about what's going on right now. And then our next one, what has been valuable to you? So to kind of explain a little bit deeper about some of those roses. People have talked about they really do like that we're back to a regular schedule, or a schedule that almost feels like it does in the normal school year. But they also enjoy the Wednesdays, the asynchronous Wednesday, where there's a bit of a room to breathe, kids get a chance to slow down. Maybe they're not on screen as much, but they're definitely working to get their assignments done. There were several statements about my child is learning and is enjoying school, which is good, even though it's not, it's not fully what school is meant to be. Again, there were comments about, hey, I can tell that my student is being prepared for college, that folks are staying healthy. They do like that, at least they get to see their friends and teachers through Zoom, where maybe last semester it was a little harder to do that. People have also said they enjoy these videos, so again, I appreciate that. I enjoy doing them as well too. And they also talk about getting some videos from others, so I might see if I can, get that going next week and try and figure out who might be able to add to be some guest stars on the video here. And then also talked about availability of teachers during office hours. But then again, on the other side, on the flip side, what was lacking? Again, people still concerned about socialization, or that freshmen aren't building bonds, or even getting used to the way high school is supposed to be. Again, obviously, some people want in-person learning, saying even a hybrid would be better. I would agree that in-person learning would definitely be better than remote learning. I don't know about a hybrid though, because a hybrid is actually going to cut down on the instructional time you're in front of a teacher. So even though you might be getting face-to-face time with the teacher, you're not going to be getting as much time as you would be in a remote learning. So there's a little bit of a double-edged sword to that one. The saying that there was a lacking about retaking of tests, and this one was a little confusing to me, because there are a lot of departments or actually course-alike teams within those departments who are allowing retakes of tests. There are some tests that after a certain time you can't retake. So I would like to know a little bit more about that. So if you were the parent who sent that in, maybe give me some more details and I can try and answer that. But we do have a lot of staff members that are doing retakes and resubmissions. So kind of curious about that one. Basically, this one was what was lacking, saying that teachers aren't really following up or being accountable when students aren't doing well. And that might feel like that from your end, but definitely teachers are doing a lot of work once we have seen some of the data, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, where students are struggling and trying to make up for that and trying to fix that, and not just blaming it all on the kids, because we know this is a difficult situation. It's difficult for all, but teachers are definitely taking their share, so I'll explain that here in a little bit more. And then, as always, the Schoology issues, and there's a question about Schoology, so I'll answer that one in a little bit. And here's that question actually right here. It says, has the school proactively been following up with Schoology with all the feedback that parents have been giving us? And absolutely we have. We have a direct link to Schoology. Our teachers can get on there and ask questions and get help. They can ask questions of some of our people here on campus or in the district office as well too. But we have a rep from Schoology who works directly with us, and he has met with some of our staff members, has had meetings, has talked to our district office people. So they are taking that feedback directly back to them. But we do have to remember that we're not their only client. There are other ones out there. There are other things that they're working on. And so it isn't simply just saying, hey, fix this, and they go turn around and fix the code. There's a lot of steps and a lot of process for what they're doing. So some of it we found, like I said, has been our error. We've tried to fix that. Some of it has been on their end, and they're trying to fix that. So again, yes, feedback is going back and forth. There is a loop, and we've seen some progress in a lot of areas. So hopefully, again, as we get more familiar with this, we start cutting down on our errors, and they're able to actually fix some of their errors. So again, appreciate hearing the feedback, because what it does for me is it allows me to go back and say, look, I have teachers who are complaining about X, or I have parents who are concerned about Y. And so it definitely helps us in that conversation, and helps me have those conversations with our district office people too. So please keep them coming. This is a weekly question, is when will kids have in-person instruction? So I'm basically keeping the same slide and updating some of the information on here as we get it. But again, we are out for the semester. We know that. We're not coming back. So the earliest we'd be back right now is January. But there are several things that start to affect that. I'll get to that in a minute. We are starting to bring back individual students, and eventually looking to bring back some small groups of students for support and services. So there will be some chances as we get closer to the end of the semester here to start bringing in some students. There is some things that we really have to look at, especially like our safety protocols. We're really having to get much more formal if we're bringing more staff and students on campus. So we definitely want to make sure that we have a very clear and understandable processes for our students who come to campus, our staff who are working on campus, and our custodians who are cleaning the campus. So that's still being processed right now. We do have kids coming in terms of athletics or activities, so there are some chances for them to come on campus after school to do some conditioning or some work for upcoming events. So that is definitely happening. Again, what the main issue right now is the county guidelines, is that we really can't meaningfully bring back students with what the restrictions are out there. Elementary schools can, high schools can't, because we can't keep the same kids in the same classroom with the same kids and the same teacher all day long, because that's not how high school works. That's how elementary works. But so that right now it really doesn't look feasible, but we are looking to see if they're gonna open up or if they're gonna get more restrictive, because as we know, the numbers are spiking all around the country right now. Last week, there were 500,000 new cases in the US. This week, numbers are still not looking very good. We broke the record, not a great record to break though, with over 100,000 cases in a single day. And then the next day, we broke that again with 125,000 new cases, not here in California or in our area, but across the country. So those numbers, as the winter season starts to come in and cold and flu season come, do start to make people a little bit nervous about, are we going to be able to, continue to open up, or are we going to get restricted and pulled back? So again, the next couple of weeks will really tell us that. So I know that's a big question on everyone's mind, and I don't have any more information than that. But other than we're out until January minimally, and then we have to sort of see what the numbers are in terms of COVID cases. There was a question about why is there no opportunity to differentiate levels for science or literature in the 9th grade? And this is a question that does come up every so often. It hasn't come up in this particular format yet. But there is a district-wide belief that we need to start a foundational level of instruction for students in the 9th grade. I know that there are some students who are in families who are looking to accelerate and move forward and jump as far ahead as they can to make their transcript look as nice as possible for colleges, or to be challenged in terms of more rigorous learning. But basically, when we have a class like bio or English, we require all students to take it, and we call it a foundational course because every student starts at that same level. And then we're able to sort of help those students make choices in terms of differentiation. Although in 9th grade, it's bio and English that are the foundational courses. And in 10th grade, it's English and social studies. So after 10th grade, starting in 10th grade, students do have a chance to kind of start to look at different levels of courses for science, especially math. Starting freshman year, they have a chance to differentiate and go higher. Even though these courses are what we call foundational, they still are college preparatory. So they are courses that will help your student get ready for college. Because once we start talking about honors courses, that is also a college preparatory class, except that it moves much more quickly, it goes more deeply into subjects. And again, in order for us to make sure that these 9th graders who we have never met before and we haven't worked with can make those leaps, we want to be able to make sure that they have the foundations and they can accelerate those foundations to move on. When we talk about an AP level course or an advanced placement course, that is a college level course. It is not a college prep course. It's assuming that your student can operate and think like a college student. And the material that they get is college level. It's much more dense. It goes much more quickly. So having a 9th grader who's 13, 14 years old, or even a sophomore who's 14, 15 years old, try to act and think like a college student is a stretch. There are some students that can do it in some subjects, but it's not something that we feel needs to be rushed or pushed. And so as a district, this is how we operate. And so you'll find this is the same in any of the high schools in our district that you go to. But one of the things that we should also look at is when we do studies in terms of how prepared our students are for college level success or for success after high school, they are very well prepared. So we're not lacking there. Our students go to all sorts of great programs and colleges and universities, and our graduation rate is top notch. So, again, they're not losing anything. And also, what you might be concerned about is if a parent says, oh, my kid only got X amount of AP courses compared to a kid at Mountain View or somewhere else who may have gotten 3 or 4 more AP courses, they're going to look better than my kid. Well, what happens is when they do the college application process, they actually put schools together in groups of other like schools. So they don't compare an apple to an orange. They're trying to compare apples to apples. So your student, while maybe they don't have as many AP courses as some other students, aren't going to be compared to that student particularly. Our school and our district definitely has a high reputation among the college application process. So again, it has not hurt our students in terms of they're being restricted at the freshman and sophomore level to only taking more foundational courses, then branching off into the harder, more advanced courses as we go along. So that's why we do it that way. There was a question about how well are students doing this semester compared to the previous semester in terms of grades. It's no secret that kids are definitely struggling. It's been hard all the way around. We've definitely had more D's and F's than we had at first progress report last year. And again, there's probably a couple of factors that contribute to that, right? It's remote learning. Remote learning is not as good as in-person learning. That's never been an argument. It just happens to be the more safe route right now. So that's why we're doing it. This semester, though, has been a much more rigorous semester. And again, you add that to the remote learning difficulties. Yeah, kids are struggling with it. I think one of our biggest issues, because we're seeing a jump in the 9th grade level in terms of the D's and F's, is that we have kids that have never stepped foot on our campus, have never met our teachers, have never really gotten used to the way we do school other than jumping on a computer. So they're definitely struggling in terms of jumping on the conveyor belt and getting it to getting in the swing of things. So definitely that's been an issue, as well as the transition to Schoology. There's some folks that just were confused about how to operate in Schoology or didn't quite understand how to submit things. So it definitely caught some people at surprise. But what we have been doing is we've been looking at those numbers, we've been looking at those students, we've been developing interventions to help them. Some of it's just one-on-one, good old-fashioned one-on-one intervention, meeting with them and trying to get them going. We've tried some other things that we're doing where we're doing sort of more tutorial or tutoring type intervention. So we're definitely doing that. And as I mentioned earlier, we are looking to bring back students in small groups to try and bring them some supports or services that they may be needing. I think what's really going to be important here is when this next progress report, the second progress report, comes up here, and just in a few days in November, to really see if we've made a dent in terms of lowering those D's and F's. I think everyone, kind of expected there to be a struggle this first grading period, but normally what happens, even in a semester where there's a high level of D's and F's that first time, there's usually a leveling off, and once kids start to get used to things, they start to develop patterns and relationships, they start to do a lot better. So we'll have a lot more information in a couple of weeks here that will tell us kind of where we're doing. But yeah, overall, kids are definitely struggling more. There are more D's and F's in the 9th grade level. Here's some important information for you all before you go away. Veterans Day is next week. It's on a Wednesday at 11/11, so there's no school that day. So the schedule is just going to be Monday and Tuesday as normal. No asynchronous day on Wednesday. And then you have Thursday, Friday as a normal day. Because our school is closed, or all schools are closed on that day, we will be doing food service for those of you who come by to pick up food on Wednesdays, actually doing it on Tuesday that week, we come on the 10th to pick up food. Our second grading period is ending, and progress reports will be coming out soon, so keep your eye open for that. Always want to plug our fabulous PTSA. They have a general meeting with a workshop on teen impact driving workshop on the 18th at 6:45, so check the website, you'll see more details. This is meant for parents and students of soon-to-be or new drivers, so highly recommend that you check this one out because there's a lot of laws and things that can affect you and your students, so it's a great workshop, so please make sure you get a chance to do that. We are still having PSAT signups through the 20th of November. I think in the last, a student caught that I actually gave a wrong date in the last email, so thank you for paying attention and sending that to me. Those PSAT signups are going through the 20th, so again, just check our website and you'll see the information there. For those students who might be interested in next year going to middle college or college now, there are some webinars going on. Again, check the guidance website for that, but the middle college one's on the 18th and the college now one is on the 19th. That is for students. We have another holiday schedule coming up because after that, or after Veterans Day, we have Thanksgiving coming up. So that Wednesday is going to be a holiday schedule. It's a little slightly different, it's probably a shorter day with no school on Thursday and Friday, obviously. So just make sure you're marking your calendars for that. As last week I talked about season 1 athletes, you need to make sure you're getting your physicals and concussion testing done and in by December. We still are on track to open up our first season of sports. So again, knocking on wood and keeping fingers crossed that happens. But again, our next couple of weeks will tell us whether we keep moving or not. But right now we're on track to open up with some sports pretty soon, in about a month. And then finally, there are some folks on campus, a staff member and some students that are putting together a Homestead COVID-19 archive. So they're looking for submissions. So the information to find the link to submit and what they're looking for is in our bulletin. So you can find that on our website as well too. So hopefully you get a chance to contribute to that, as I think that'll be a great way to memorialize a time in our history, which is definitely going to be a milestone and a time to remember, but it'd be nice to have some first primary documents and firsthand accounts of what's going on so others can learn from what we went through. Again, thank you for sending in your surveys. Please make sure you continue doing so. I want to wish you all a fantastic weekend, and it's getting colder out there, so stay healthy, stay warm, remember to wear your mask and to wash your hands. And again, from the smoothie shop, I'm wishing you a great weekend. Have a good one.